The world says it's the thought that counts. God has a different opinion. Of course, he wants our good thoughts, but he wants our action. He wants that things should be expressed. So while the world says, meditate upon the vastness of the universe, the greatness of God, the awesomeness of the moment, God says, express it. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Today's Tanya, we share with a newborn baby. The newborn baby isn't watching. The newborn baby isn't even listening. Either is it at the baby's mother listening, who's my daughter. Our daughter Esty gave birth yesterday to a baby boy last night. Mazel tov. So today's teachings in honor of the new baby boy just born born into this world. Bris next week. We should only come together in celebration.
Next Thursday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Right.
We conclude today the 49th. Oh, okay. Excuse me a moment. I have to fix something here. Okay. Thank you. Let me know if it's on now. Are we on Chabad.org? Vita, let me know, please. Oh, okay. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We conclude today the 49th chapter. With that, we conclude a whole section, 46 through 49, about reciprocal love. Love is expressed by a kiss. God gives us a divine kiss, as he's doing right now, a divine kiss. In that kiss, the metaphor of a kiss is an exchange of breath. God's breath is brought into me, meaning his breath that contains in it his divine wisdom is now incorporated and is absorbed and becomes my divine wisdom, or my wisdom at least. And therefore I could see the world the way God sees the world. And with that, I also give breath, which means I give expression. In the breath is the expression. In other words, I just moved my lips without breath. There was no expression to my words. It's the breath that gives expression, that it becomes verbalized, that it becomes outward, that it becomes something that is now part of the fabric of creation. And this we can understand then. The words in Deuteronomy, Dvarim, it says, Ki al kol meitzipi havaya yichi adam. For every word that proceeds from God's mouth does man live. So God's mouth, his breath, figuratively speaking, right? I mean, it's the ultimate breath, the ultimate mouth, not a physical one, right? That God breathes out his wisdom, his word that gives life, physical life, and life of the spirit, that our spirit can cleave in his spirit through the Torah study that we're learning right now. And that is why we have to utter also. Because you might ask the question, that God utters his breath and it's infused in me, that now I could see the world the way God sees the world. I can perceive things based on Torah of God's wisdom. But why do I have to utter it? That God has to. I get it because it has to be infused in me, that breath, right? But what am I giving? Because if it only remains within me and I don't express it, then what happens if I just meditate upon the Torah teachings? So it stays in my head, and in my head is what? What's in my head? My soul, my divine soul. So what will be unified with God? My divine soul merely. That's not the purpose of creation, because my divine soul was unified with God before creation, before coming into this world. So that's not why I came into this world. It came into this world that it should affect my animal, vivifying soul and my body. Well, if I only meditate upon the Torah teachings, I didn't engage my vivifying soul or my animal soul or my body. How do I engage it? I have to speak it, the words of Torah. I have to express it. Because when I express it, as I'm doing now, the words of Tanya, what's happening? I'm engaging my animal soul, my vivifying soul that gives life to my body. So now I'm engaged because who's doing the talking? Not my divine soul. My body by way of vitality of the animal / vivifying soul. And thereby, what am I doing right now? Elevating that element in me. Not just the divine in me, but the animal in me. It's bound up and now one with God, absorbed. And this is the ultimate purpose, is the revelation of godliness everywhere, in the material world, in the materiality of us. As the verse says, that the glory of God should be revealed, so much so that the flesh of all shall see. Not that the flesh will be like spirit. The flesh remains flesh. In the flesh, there should be a revelation of the divine. In the material, a revelation of the divine. And that's the whole purpose of why God created the world. A progressive descent of the worlds, and God's glory should pervade the darkness of this world. The darkness in me is my body, my animal soul that is self-oriented, self-absorbed. And what do I need to do? Change that darkness into light to be absorbed in the light of God. Change bitterness, that's bitterness. Self-directed, self-absorbed is bitterness. And to transform that, change that into the light of holiness. To change sweetness, bitterness into sweetness, from that life force of klipas noiga into a holy life force. Right. And what do you do as a result? You bring the ultimate intent of our divine service is to bring the infinite light of God down into this world and into the lowest part of this world. And that's what it means in the Shema. We say that the oneness of God, that we should have the love of God, that these words should be upon my heart and speak them, the words of Torah, the Shin, right? V'dibarta bam, and speak in them in the words of Torah, right? Now, in conclusion, says the Alter Rebbe, though, of course you need an initiation that is called the initiative of from within ourselves, right? I mean, this is now expressing outwardly, but then from within, what's called an elevation from within. And what's within? My heart, right? Which is the recipient aspect of me that I have to elevate that. In other words, my love to God has to be there, of course, right? That I have a love for God so much so that I'm ready to forego breakfast to learn Tanya. I'm ready to forego, making that phone call to someone so I can learn Tanya for the love of God. So we need that together, right? To elevate from within, but then to express it in that elevation is not just our divine soul that's ready to give up everything for the connection of God. Right? That's at the same time, it needs to be expressed so that it will incorporate my vivifying / animal soul together with my body, that it too will be giving back to God. So when we reciprocate God's love for us, we don't reciprocate merely which is naturally connected with God, our divine soul, our divine nature. That for sure. But we need to express it, verbalize it when it comes to Torah study, right? In order that we incorporate, again, our lesser quality of, or lower quality of being, the body and the animal / vivifying soul, that it too is exalted. It too is connected and bringing the light of God into it. That makes it truly a reflective mirror image, right? God breathes it into us, not just the breath of life that we exist, but the Spirit of God, His divine wisdom, that we could see the world the way He sees it. So now we got to share that with the world. We got to share it with the world. Brett has a question on Instagram. Why is the manifestation of this elevation into the material world met with such hostility in others? I don't know what you mean by that exactly. Doesn't sound good, sounds bad. Hostility. So what might be the reason? I don't know the particular case or cases that you're speaking about, Brett, but what might be is that when you live the truth, when you do something truthful, right? But you got to do it in a way that is truthful, not in a way that is like, I'm kind of like, not that I'm putting down anybody else as a result of it, not that I'm um, better than thou because I'm doing this and you're not, right? But if we're doing it because it's the truth and we're committed to it and we appreciate that truth because it's the truth, as we explained here, so usually you will not get an adverse response from someone, but you might. It might happen. Absolutely might happen. And the reason for that is actually probably a positive one. you've touched a chord in them by living the truth, expressing the truth, again, in a truthful way, right? Not a self-indulgent or self-directed way. The truth is the truth, and it touches people. And sometimes it hurts them. Right. But that's good. And when they act sometimes in that hostile way, you know why? Because you've touched a chord in them that will hopefully awaken them from their either numbness, their disconnect from the divine, from their divine purpose. And hopefully it'll open up something in them, whether they are acknowledging it or not. But just the fact that they're touched and they are hostile, that itself can be a good sign. Patricia, is awe an act of reciprocation? Yes, but here it's more of love, even though, yes, in love there has to be awe too. So it's very true. It's more an expression of love because it's God's expression of love towards us. So we're reciprocating with love. It's also with awe because anytime that you express love, there has to be an element of awe there or fear of disconnect, right? So yes, it's true. How do you support someone who is abusive? Ooh, that's not an easy one to answer. I don't know what to say. Well, no, I'm not saying that either. I don't know what to say. Any other questions? Yeah, so John is very correct in what he's saying that, and you know, and I don't know, Brett, if this has anything to do with your question, but assimilation elicits a stronger anti-Semitic response from the world. And when you're proud as a Jew, then the world respects you. Very true what John said. If you're a Jew that's not proud of your Jewishness, right? So what's going to happen is if you're not proud of it, well, people will look at you also, you know, not respectfully. You're not respecting yourself. How should anybody else respect you? Right? So if you're Jewish and you don't respect yourself, right? If you're human and you don't respect your humanness, then why would anybody else respect your humanness? Right? Mark, I'm sorry, I don't know what to reply for that. It's too um, personal, you know, to really. Yeah. So Patricia, the fact that truth is an act of love is true, and the fact that it turns you to the straight path is because you're open to it. But not all people are. You know, you're unique. Stephanie, there are some people cannot hear, uh, cannot hear. I'm not sure, Stephanie, what you're asking. Cannot hear me because they're not hearing what I'm saying, or because there's something wrong with the connection. Is that what you mean? Michelle, if you give love and are reciprocated by hate, betrayal, and disrespect, is it okay to detach yourself? Well, it sounds like you are detached in that moment, irrespective of yourself. Um, I don't know how to answer that either. It's too personal, and I don't know the situation, to give to be able to give a proper answer. Because I don't know, is that your child? Is that your parent? So I don't know, what the situation is. So it's hard to answer. Tomorrow we're going to have TRC at 4 o'clock, God willing. Tanya Rabbi community. So that's a good place where we can talk about those things. If you're interested, let me know. All right. Amazing. Beautiful. Today's teachings, as I mentioned earlier, mention again for those, is in honor of a new grandson that is born um, from our daughter, Esty and Ellie, new child born yesterday early evening. And thank God, mother and child are well. And in honor of his new neshama that's brought into this world, we honor with today's class. Baruch Hashem. Shall be blessed with only wonderful good things. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege, a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Stay tuned for Rambam. God bless you. Thank you.